Hello, and thank you for calling the Higher Self Hotline, your direct line to the divine. You've been led here by your inner knowing, and you've arrived right on cue. I'm your host, Zoe Greco, and together we'll make the ethereal earthly, helping you consciously embody your spiritual knowing and most authentic self. Please listen carefully to the following options. To discover how to fulfill your soul's purpose, press 1. To unlock infinite abundance in life, love, and career, press 2. To heal your mind, body, and spirit, press 3. To speak with your personal spirit guides, press 0. Please hold while we connect you to your highest timeline. Hello, Divine Darlings, and welcome back to the Higher Self Hotline. I'm your host, Zoe Greco. Thank you so much for joining me today. And today is a very special episode because it is our Valentine's episode. It is February 2026. Welcome to a new month, and I am so excited. I have always been an absolute sucker for Valentine's Day. Even back in, I remember in first grade, we had to make these little pouches and pockets out of, construction paper and doilies and glitter and put our names on them so everyone could drop our Valentines in. And I was always so excited to drop my little Valentines for my crushes. I've always been a lover girl. And you guys know that I've really been wanting to just be more playful with the show and have more fun and just kind of step out of the box a little bit. This is just a creative endeavor. It's something that I also get to use as a source of service, which is so profound that I'm able to merge those interests and passions for myself. But I'm also really trying to enjoy the creative aspect of it. And so if you can't see me, please go check this out on Spotify or YouTube because I have decorated the podcast studio for Valentine's Day. My friend Yesenia hosted a girls' night where we got together and made garlands out of ribbons and bows and playing cards and vintage Valentines and doilies and all sorts of things. And then there's others in here that I've been collecting as well in preparation to decorate the studio for Valentine's Day. And it is giving cluttercore, but honestly, I also feel like it's giving Baz Luhrmann. It's giving Moulin Rouge, 1990s Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio, or something very vivid and playful about it. I'm a huge fan of Baz Luhrmann. I love his films. I love his directing style. And I've always really leaned into that kind of romantic saturated vibe. And so it's really fun to sit inside of it and just play today and have so much fun. And now I'm dang, I wish it could be like this all the time. But I also know myself. And as much as I can appreciate some cluttercore, it's not sustainable for me. I need the openness and the clarity energetically. Even today before recording, I grabbed my mini vacuum and vacuumed the whole space because it was covered in dog hair and dog cookie crumbs because yesterday the dogs had a video shoot here in the studio. Ethan hired a new creative director and videographer into his business because they've developed a new arm of his business. And it's really exciting and really cool. And that videographer came over to film some content with Ethan yesterday. And I had some stuff I wanted to film for the podcast. And so I asked if he could help me get that set up and everything and kind of take this B-roll footage that I needed of the dogs. And so the dogs got all dressed up. Hopefully we'll be able to use it for this episode. I'm fingers crossed. So maybe you can already see it above me and below me. But we took this special B-roll footage of the dogs in the podcast studio and they were all wearing they were dripping in jewels and there were red roses and it was very romantic and fun. And it's just been such a fun thing to, get more playful, but it also does make me feel like I have to keep my space really neat and tidy because I'm trying so many things out in this space right now. But it feels so good to be back for another Let Me Ask My Psychic segment with you guys. These are always my favorite, as you know, and we have some really exciting things to discuss and talk about. So let me just kind of backtrack my way through January. It has been a challenging month. I'm at the very end of January before you hear this while I'm recording it. So we have not yet crossed into February in real time in this moment. But January is always a month that I really look forward to because I'm a girl that loves a fresh start. You've heard me say it once, you've heard me say it a million times. A Monday, a first of the month, the first of the year, like something about a new beginning just feels so refreshing to me. And I really entered into this year with a lot of joy and a lot of dread at the same time, because I knew that I was getting to start the You Already Are container, and that has been mind-blowingly magical. And at the same time, I knew that it would be the last month that I was doing regular client sessions, and holding both of those things at once, I'm not going to lie to you, was very challenging. Like definitely a very hefty weight, in my arms. Like I felt like I never really had time to put anything down. But at the same time, there was also like a heft and a heaviness to it, not just from, holding two full-time client loads at once, but more so from the goodbyes that were taking place with people who, really were not ready for this service to end, and were communicating all this love and gratitude to me. And it was so moving. And I realized that, I need to figure out how to continue to create space for people where our journey is not complete, but they're kind of sitting in an in-between between sessions and the container. So I'm really thinking about that and trying to consider like what I want that to look like, what I want that to feel like. But yeah, there was like an emotional weight to it as well, that as much as I was like so thrilled and excited to just step forward into You Already Are, there was definitely also this feeling like this is the end of an era really and completely. Because even when I shifted away from Rahipsi into Zoe, I was still doing the same work. Like I was kind of tricking myself into not having to feel the immensity of that transformation. I gave myself like basically another 2 years to ease myself into this transitional, shift. And everyone is congratulating me and offering me, praise and love. And it's so wonderful. And at the same time, I hear the sadness and I hear the fear and I hear the just like the heartbreak, honestly, as I'm talking to people. And it really was breaking my heart as well. So I've really put my thinking cap on, and I've been telling everyone, like, keep your eyes on your inbox, like keep your ears here on the podcast. Like I am going to decide what that middle space looks like. And for now, I am feeling like it's going to be the pajama parties, which you guys were so excited about. Holy macaroni. That was a very, very warm response. I don't think I've ever had such a strong response to anything that I've put on the podcast before. So you guys are clearly wanting it, ready for it, and looking forward to it. So at the time of recording, I do not have the first date selected. However, at the date of release and listening, so if you're listening to this right now, go to zoegreco.com and you can get all the information for our very first pajama party. It's what you'll see as soon as you get there, zoegreco.com. And I'm going to tell you everything about our PJ party. I believe it's going to be toward the end of February. So just stay alert to our invitations that go out, whether that's in your email or over on zoegreco.com. And it's open for everybody. All you're going to need are your PJs. And if you have an oracle deck, please feel free to bring that, a journal if you want to. But mostly we're just going to be really like hanging out and having fun. There's nothing you have to like bring or do specifically. But of course, PJs are a must, people. So keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, and we'll get you those more details soon. Otherwise, the pockets of joy that I found in January outside of the container, which really was such a profound source of joy for me in January, I would say were the small moments that I was able to enjoy with friends, not only my girlfriends who really like showed up for me in such loving ways during a month when I was just feeling real dense, like really, nose to the grindstone, work. The time I did get with friends was so refreshing and rejuvenating and replenishing to my spirit. Like it just really does something to me. And I actually got to meet some new people in January. Ethan and I really share all the same friends. Like we are friends with each other's friends, and we're mostly just part of this big group of couples, as well as, you know, some amazing single ladies as well. And Ethan has been very consistently rock climbing for the past, oh man, like decade, honestly. And he's very, very good, but he goes like, you know, 3 times, 4 times a week if he can. That's where he is right now, actually. I'm alone in the house and Ethan is rock climbing. And he has this amazing community of friends that he's created at the rock gym, but it's not a place that I go. I've tried rock climbing out, not for me, babe. Did not go well. I actually fainted because the shoes I was wearing were too tight. And also, I'm deathly afraid of heights. I got halfway up the wall and was like, never mind. So I don't participate. But Ethan has been going consistently, and he made this amazing group of friends. And I don't see them because I don't go there. So I had never met them before. Believe it or not, I've met like maybe 2 of his friends from the gym, but really not like the crew. And they were all wanting to come over and climb on Ethan's kilter board, which is like a rock climbing device that you can have in your home, basically. And he just got a new pizza oven. If anyone doesn't know, Ethan cooks the best pizzas, and his new oven really does like make the best pizzas. And so all of his friends were like, we want to kilter board and like have a pizza party for Dawson's going away party, because one of the guys was going to be moving to Colorado. So everyone came over and we had such an incredible time. Like these were some of the most grounded, down to earth, open-hearted, loving people I've ever met. Like I had one of the best days that I can remember in so long. And that's saying a lot because I'm obsessed with my friends. Like I'm obsessed with the people in my life. And this was one of those days where like I felt like a child, and we were all just so connected and joyful, and the energy that they bring is so magnetic and expansive, and like we laughed all day. Like they were here all day. And I really felt like I needed the day to work. I'm like, oh, I should be doing this. I should be doing this. Like I had so many ideas of what I should be doing that day. And so I thought they were just going to be over here for like a couple hours. And I ended up just totally fucking off the whole day with them and had the absolute best time. And I feel like I learned so much in that micro experience about groundedness. Like these people rock climb, you know what I mean? Like they are committed to being grounded and having a grounded energy. And it feels so refreshing when you're someone who kind of spends most of your time with your head in the clouds and like just sort of existing in your mind and in the ether, to really be brought back down to earth by their energy. It felt like being in nature, and it was so restorative, like in a way that I really can't describe. But even beyond that, the idea that like these are the people that my husband draws into his life, and the people that he's drawn to, like it filled my heart with so much like joy and pride. And not pride as in like, oh, I'm married to someone so great. It was like, wow, Ethan is such a special person, and I'm so grateful that other people can see that and treat him with that same sort of like reverence and love. I'm getting emotional. He's just the greatest person. And to see the types of people that he draws into his life all on his own was just beautiful. Like it felt so beautiful to witness, and reminded me too that our lives are still expanding. Like a lot of the time I think like, wow, okay, we're really like in it. We're in our lives. Like these are our lives. These are our friends. And I keep like forgetting sometimes like, no, the world is even bigger than that. And your heart can hold even more than that. And I felt my heart grow that day. Like I felt the capacity grow in my heart that day. And so that was a really beautiful experience in January. Oh my God, another thing in January, holy shit. I got to interview my literal hero, Marianne motherfucking Williamson. Holy shit, you guys. This was something that I have literally been trying to manifest my entire life. Having a conversation with Marianne Williamson. I can't even believe that it happened. So for years, basically my whole life, I wanted to talk to her. I have been a follower of her work my entire life. My mom introduced me to A Course in Miracles. I ended up reading, obviously, Marianne's work and then, her work beyond A Course in Miracles, but still utilizing that methodology and like philosophy. And then, of course, followed her political career. Like when she was running for president, that's where my vote was going, babe. Like I was so all about her. Honestly, she has been my hero my entire life. And so for years, I've seen her on other podcasts and really, really, really tried to like get her team's attention and just like see if I could get her on the show. And finally, we got some emails back in 2024, but they were all like, she's busy, she's booked, she can't, whatever. And I was like, just not giving up. So I was like, okay, well, when will her schedule be more open again? They're like, oh, maybe like 6 months from now. I'm like, okay, perfect. You'll be hearing from me in 6 months. Then 6 months would roll around. I'd email them. It would take them a while to get back. I'd follow up. It'd take them a while to get back. And they were like, yeah, she's busy. We'll let you know. Like, she's really not taking any bookings right now. And I was like, no problem. I just want to let you know, this is the most important conversation I can ever have. Like every email I was sending them, I was reminding them like what I wanted to talk to her about, why I felt like it was so important for you guys to hear from her, the point of having that conversation, and like what I feel like she is uniquely qualified to speak to and share. I knew that wasn't the problem. The problem was that like my show wasn't big enough for her, right? Like she's huge. She's a presidential candidate. Like she's a big deal, But I was seeing her on shows that I know are in like a comparable position. And so I was like, okay, there must just be something to it. Now I know what it was, and I'll tell you. But eventually, I just had this feeling like this was an intuitive moment, which is why I'm sharing it and it feels so important. One day I woke up and I just felt like I need to go on her socials and start a conversation. So I commented on one of her photos and she commented back to me, which was the first time that had ever happened. And I was like, okay, perfect. So now there's like one thread of connection that was created energetically. And that was all it was, energetic. I didn't think like, oh, she sees me and she sees my name and she looked at my, like, I didn't think any of that. I was like, okay, I've created an energetic link, an energetic connection. And then a couple of days later, she posted a video sharing some of her, political positioning and just like what she was thinking and what she was feeling about things. And I commented and said, this is exactly what I've been trying to get you to come on my podcast to discuss and talk about. And her assistant responded, saw it and said, oh, let me get back to you. And from that day forward, I had an appointment with Marianne Williamson. And at first it got canceled. Okay. So it was supposed to be a different day and then it got canceled. And I was like, I just basically said to her assistant, like, this is literally my lifelong dream. Like, what do I have to do to make this happen? Okay. Like, what do I have to do to make it happen? And she was just like, you know what? I'm going to get it rescheduled for you because she's a real one. Lauren, you're the best. And so she got it rescheduled for me, and Marianne and I had our conversation. Oh my God. Whoa. Okay. Yeah. It was powerful. And during that conversation, no spoilers, she told me to run for president. Oh my God. Which is the craziest thing I've ever experienced in my life. Like, and that whole experience shook me to my core and felt like a timeline hopping experience, because usually when we have guests, I have support for writing those questions. And so my support wrote those questions. We sent them off. And the night before, I was like, you know what? No, those aren't the questions I want to ask. If I'm going to have a conversation with Marianne Williamson, I don't want to play it safe. I want to really ask her what I want to ask her. I want to have a real conversation with her. And so I spent all day revisiting my favorite quotes and sections of her book. I watched a documentary of hers. Like, I mean, I've been following her work my whole life. Like, none of it was new to me. I wasn't like cramming necessarily, but I was like, okay, what are the things that have always resonated with me the most about like her speeches, her interviews, everything? And I just was able to assemble. It took me hours. I worked like deep into the night. My ADHD was fighting so hard against me. I tried to do a billion other things at the same time because that's how I be. And eventually around like midnight, I finished the questions and I emailed them off to her assistant. And I was like, listen, I know I only get 30 minutes with her, but I don't think these questions can be asked in 30 minutes. Is there any way that there's like more wiggle room? And so she responded back and she's like, there's no wiggle room on the time, but I've shown her the questions and, you guys are going to have a great conversation. And I was like, okay. So I get on the call with Marianne Williamson. Oh my God. And she's like, I've read your questions and I can tell the depth of conversation that you're trying to have. And so please don't worry about the 30-minute mark. Okay, Marianne Williamson. Okay. That was incredible. So I was able to talk to her for almost an hour, which was unbelievable. And she was everything I knew she would be. They tell you don't meet your heroes, people. Those people don't know Marianne Williamson. She was incredible. Everything about her was just exactly what I hoped it would be and more. It was a life-changing experience. And in writing those questions and preparing myself for that interview, I felt myself shift into a timeline where my podcasting is actually going to start being much more serious. I say, as I am in a completely decked out, I'm literally wearing a Cupid outfit and a halo. Don't know if I mentioned that yet. I'm literally wearing a halo. And yet I see myself taking myself more seriously, no matter what I'm wearing, or no matter what my set looks like, or no matter what I'm doing. Like, this is, there's nuance to who I am as a person, and I can hold the glitz and the glamour and the reality and the density and the seriousness and the gravity and the joy and the love and the abundance. Like, I can hold all of those things. And it was one of those moments where I was like, holy shit, I just up-leveled as a podcaster. Like, my podcast is not the same. I am not the same. Nothing is the same. I'm not the same person that I was. And I really do believe and feel like from that moment forward, I became a different version of myself that is sitting in front of you today. And it feels good. And I haven't fully integrated into that part yet, but like, it is currently integrating and it feels really, really exciting. I would say lastly, what kind of went on for me in January, besides the joy and abundance of taking on YAA, shifting out of the client work, meeting new friends, interviewing my hero, like a lot of amazing things. My mom's birthday. I love my mom. It was her birthday. January also offered me an opportunity to really connect into what is a personal year 8 all about. Like, all the themes of this year just became so clear to me. And I honestly cannot believe sometimes myself just how accurate numerology is. All year so far, I've really been thinking about my position as a mentor and a leader and a business owner. Like, who I am as a boss has been a very, very big theme for me in January. And all month, I just reflected and reflected and reflected on like, who do I want to be as a boss? Who do I want to be as an employer? Who do I want to be as a mentor? Who do I want to be as a leader? And then in the midst of that entire like inner thought process that I was moving through, Marianne motherfucking Williamson tells me to run for president. And I'm like, what? Like, it was just this moment where everything was converging into space where I was like, oh yeah, no shit. You just started your personal year 8, which is not just the number of money and material manifesting. It is also the number of authority and leadership and power and control. And I really am learning so much. Like, these lessons are not complete for me, but I'm learning so much about like what it means to hold that responsibility and what kind of person I want to remain in the face of more responsibility. Like, how can I stay true to myself and true to my nature as I confront more responsibility? And the answer is, I don't know yet, but I'm very, very committed to the process of clarifying that and figuring that out and working on embodying that. And the craziest part of it all, I think, is that I did, which many of you guys might have seen on socials, there was kind of this like winter solstice, like spell work that was kind of going around social media where you would write, on the winter solstice, you would write 12 different things you wanted to or 13 things you wanted to manifest in the new year. And we would burn one a night for 12 nights. And then the last one that was left was the one that you were responsible for. And any of the ones that were burned, the universe would, bring to you sort of effortlessly. And my goals were kind of like all over the place. My manifestations and visions were very nuanced. They ranged from personal to professional to internal, external, like tangible, intangible. They kind of were everywhere. And there was one that in the end, I just knew was going to be the one. Call me psychic, but I knew it was going to be the one that was left over. And sure enough, it was. And it was, I should go get it. Maybe I'll post a picture of it on Instagram so you guys can see it. But basically it said, I want to be the most skillful, confident, competent, compassionate, such and such and such and such leader that I can be, and like boss, employer, leader that I can be. And that was the one that was left for me to tackle during a personal year 8. It could have been a million things. It could have been, I want to take a trip to Egypt. It could have been anything. Well, I guess it could have been 13 things. It couldn't be quite a million. It could be 13 things. But in the end, it was the one that I knew was for me. And it is what I'm currently navigating. And it feels a little bit crunchy, but mostly what it feels is challenging. Like I so badly want to get this right. And I know intuitively and intellectually, like what I would tell a student of mine or a mentee of mine that like was feeling this way, that there's no such thing as getting it right. There's only letting yourself grow and learning as you go and expanding and continuing to expand your capacity to hold more. And I know that that's what I'm currently doing, but in that process, I'm meeting all my edges, and my edges are reflecting back to me the ways that I'm not yet good at this. And it's like, yikers, that is hard. It's hard to face and look at. Like, it's hard to see the ways that you are not performing the way that you'd like to. And at the same time, I've also built such a net of safety and love around me. Like the people that work with me and for me and around me, they really, care. And there's, space for me to mess up and grow. And I feel so grateful for that wiggle room. And it's important that there is trust and love and unity in a business, because those are your partners and they're helping you grow something. No matter how far removed, you are from somebody, like being loving and kind and respectful really does enhance teamwork. And I am PMSing. So part of the tears are definitely coming from that. I am like literally 2 days away. And as I reflect on these awarenesses that I'm coming to, like as these awarenesses are coming to me, and I look at the world and the way that it's falling apart, I feel both grief and responsibility. But I feel responsibility in an empowered sense, not in like, I feel guilty because I'm responsible. I feel responsible because I live here. I live here and I have a voice and I have a loving heart. And I think those things are enough to make real change. And what's so cool is if you're here listening to this and if you're resonating with this, or even if it's giving you the ick, honestly, there's some part of you that also feels those feelings, the grief, but also the responsibility. And so I'm really trying to figure out, what does it look like to hold that responsibility on a micro level and on a macro level? Like, what does it look like in my personal world, in my business, like in the world away from what's being seen by others? And then in the world that's seen by others, the world that's shared by others, like, how can I bring my voice and my loving heart forward in those spaces too? And I don't have the answers yet, but I feel very on track. Like, whatever the outcome is going to be from these lessons and this focus of this year for me, like, I'm getting the message that I'm on the journey. Like, Spirit is very clear with me. Yes, keep walking this way. And I think that that's such an important thing to share, because intuition is not always specific. It's sometimes just absolutely directional. Like, it's a compass. It's not a preview always. It's often a compass. And our faith to follow that direction is what becomes predictive. And that, I think, is a very powerful thing. So if you have a voice, a loving, kind heart, and a sense of your intuition, you can actually do anything in this world, which is so, so cool. So with all of that said, I feel a little messy. I feel like I jumped around a lot, but that was the way it all wanted to come out today. And I hope that you enjoyed that little personal catch up with me. And I think it's time for us to turn it over to the numerology forecast. So let's go ahead and get into that. As we move further into this new 9-year cycle, February shifts the focus from initiation toward expression. January established direction and relational tone, and February now brings attention to how that direction is communicated, interpreted, and emotionally experienced. February unfolds as a collective month 3 within the broader context of a collective year 1. With momentum already underway, this month highlights the role of voice, messaging, and creative expression in shaping what continues to take form. What is spoken, shared, or circulated now does more than reflect the moment. It actively influences how this new cycle develops. The number 3 governs communication, creativity, emotional expression, and social change. It emphasizes how ideas move through conversation, media, and storytelling, and how emotion informs collective understanding. In the early stages of a new cycle, this energy brings visibility to narratives, perspectives, and voices that help define emerging direction. On a supportive level, February encourages honest dialogue, inspired creativity, and meaningful connection. It favors expression that clarifies intention and helps translate inner knowing into shared language. This energy supports writing, teaching, content creation, and conversations that feel emotionally present and purpose-driven. It allows ideas to become tangible through articulation and shared understanding. At the same time, the shadow of this month is worth noting. Month 3 can amplify emotional reactivity, scattered focus, or expression that prioritizes visibility over clarity. When communication moves faster than reflection, messaging can become unfocused or performative. Emotion may seek release without discernment, leading to miscommunication or unnecessary noise. Collectively, this energy brings heightened attention to language, storytelling, and public discourse. The way events are framed carries weight, and narratives gain momentum quickly. Voices that resonate emotionally may rise into prominence, while messaging that lacks coherence may create confusion or diversion. February highlights how expression influences perception and how communication shapes collective response. On a personal level, this month supports becoming more conscious of how and why you express yourself. It invites reflection and relationship between voice and direction, asking whether what you share aligns with what you're building over time. Expression is most effective now when it serves intention rather than distraction, and when emotion is honored without being allowed to steer unconsciously. Working well with this energy means allowing creativity and communication to support forward movement without scattering focus. It favors thoughtful articulation, intentional sharing, and emotional honesty that contributes to clarity rather than overwhelm. When expression is rooted in integrity, it strengthens momentum and reinforces the foundation already being laid. February 2026 reminds us that direction is shaped not only through action, but through language. How we speak, create, and communicate now helps determine how this new cycle continues to unfold. And that's your numerology news for February 2026. If you're interested in your own personal forecast, make sure you're signed up for the newsletter to receive my monthly numerology horoscopes. Now, I think it's time for us to switch gears over into the Let Me Ask My Psychic segment. Mike, go ahead and drop that intro right here.
Feeling like something's missing in your life? Searching for clarity in the chaos? Unsure of your next move or just need some wise guidance? It's time for Let Me Ask My Psychic. Right here on the Higher Self Hotline, Zoe Greco is ready to dial into the divine and deliver some heavenly hints just for you. So why not give us a ring at 1-800-HIGH-ANGEL? Because who wouldn't want a little angelic advice?
And we are back with another installment of Let Me Ask My Psychic, where I answer your listener questions. And today, I gathered questions from you guys about love, amor, romance, because this is, of course, our Valentine's Day episode. So, without further ado, let's hop into these. Our first question is, I keep attracting emotionally unavailable people, even though I'm doing the work and know my worth. At what point is this a lesson instead of just a pattern I'm supposed to outgrow? Well, that is a very good question. And of course, I want to just clarify and say that we are usually drawn to emotionally unavailable partners because that emotional unavailability mirrors something from our upbringing or our childhood or our past that makes us feel safe and comfortable due to its familiarity. So if you are drawn to people who do not have the emotional intentionality or space or consciousness to meet you or hold you, that can't be open or available, there's likely something about that that feels very familiar and comforting for you. Now, the question here was, at what point is this a lesson versus a pattern that I'm supposed to outgrow? And the truth is, a pattern ends when a lesson is received or integrated. So for instance, the lesson here is that emotionally unavailable people do not provide you what you are looking for romantically, even platonically, perhaps, even familial. Like, are you dealing with emotional unavailability within your family? Still, that's creating discomfort or dissonance for you. That's the lesson, right? The lesson is this doesn't get me what I want. This doesn't feel good or right. So perfect. The pattern can now change if the lesson is learned. And the pattern is something that we do have to take actionable steps to change. Being able to shift into a different reality, a different experience, a different timeline does require intentional action that works against your patterns. You have to literally challenge your patterns. And so you may feel less attracted initially to people who are emotionally available and open because it's not comfortable and it's not familiar. So that would require that you push past the feeling of like a lack of draw and a lack of attraction to try and build something meaningful from which attraction can grow. Now, that's not to say if you're not attracted to a person that you have to, overlook a lack of physical attraction. You're allowed to be physically attracted to a partner and also be healing a pattern of seeking out emotional unavailability in people by accident, unintentionally. So a lesson will repeat itself until the lesson is received. The opportunity to learn that lesson will persist until the lesson is received. And often that's because it's a pattern. So these things really go hand in hand, the idea of this being a lesson and a pattern, but one does sort of beget the next. And so a lesson will continue to circle. It cannot miss you. It will continue to circle until you latch onto it and go, oh, I can't get what I want from emotionally unavailable people. I have to repattern to feel that same sort of draw and comfort in the presence of people who are emotionally open with me. So I hope that answers that question. Okay, so this is actually kind of pretty similar. This question is, I'm in a healthy relationship, but it feels calm in a way that sometimes scares me. How do I stop waiting for the other shoe to drop? So again, this is this idea that we're drawn to what is familiar, not necessarily what is healthy. So if you are used to chaos, then you're going to feel fearful and uncertain of, and even unstable or unsafe in the presence of calm, because it's not what you're used to. And that idea of like waiting for the other shoe to drop is actually just your nervous system's attunement to dealing with chaos constantly, and histrionics, and just like this idea of people, perhaps overreacting or over responding in a situation unhealthfully. If that's what you're used to, emotional volatility, someone who is calm and soft with you is going to make you feel that way. Again, it's this idea of letting your nervous system adjust, letting your new normal become what requires you to move against the pattern, which would be being in the presence of calm and telling yourself, I am safe in this experience. It is safe for me to be still and calm and at peace with a partner. Like really challenging those beliefs is the way that it is changed. Now, we got a question that I thought was really important because I'm seeing this theme come up a lot in client work. And it's, is it possible to deeply love someone and still know that they're not meant to be my life partner? And the question, I got a couple similar questions. Another one asked, kind of the same thing. And then how do you grieve that without doubting yourself? And what I think is important to remember is that everyone has a place and a meaning in your life. And the fact that it may not include longevity doesn't diminish the depth of that relationship. And loving someone so profoundly and not being overly committed or attached to the expectation that it has to last forever is often how love lasts the longest. When we're not fearful around it, it often opens up organically and softly and safely in a way that is really lends itself to longevity in a way that grasping and fear doesn't. And I relate to this very profoundly on a personal level. I think for years, I really needed the safety of someone choosing me. Like I wanted every person I dated to want to marry me. I wanted every person I dated to want to commit and to create that safety for me. And the truth is, when I met Ethan, I understood on a completely different level what love is. And it's not about being chosen, it's about being seen. And once I was kind of aware of that difference, it really changed the experience for me on a personal level. And that may not be your wound, listener or asker. That may not be specifically what you're dealing with, but understanding that everyone has a place in your life that may or may not include longevity is the only way you'll set yourself free. Because when we're so attached to the outcome of a relationship, it actually becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If we're always worried about it ending, that's the most surefire way to end a relationship. It's the most off-putting energy that you can exhibit. And this isn't to say that, you have to change this mentality so that you can be more attractive to somebody. It's just to say that it's neither supportive nor attractive. It doesn't really do anything for you to be committed to the end of something before you've even really been in it. So even if you're sure that someone isn't your person, that's still a distraction from what can really be experienced for both of you in the shared present. So no matter what, the longevity of a relationship is not definitive of its impact, and nor should it be definitive of the value that it holds for you, is really the way I could answer that question. Let's see. Ooh, okay. Here's maybe our last one for the day. I keep wondering if I missed the one. If I had $1 for every time I heard this, you guys, I would never have to work again. How do you trust divine timing when love hasn't unfolded the way you thought it would by now? Whoo, girl. Let me tell you what. Nothing that is for you can pass you by. Nothing. that is for you can pass you by. What is for you will circle you until you are ready to receive it and ready to hold it. And that doesn't mean that you have to be your best self in order to receive it. It means you have to be the version of yourself that can at least hold the beginning of it, the first part of it. Because love is something that continues to grow and unfold and take shapes and expand in new directions that you don't expect. And I can tell you with certainty that who I am today can hold the loving relationship that Ethan and I have, but only because I've had 12 years to grow my capacity so that this could be what we can have together. And the same is true for him. This is not a love I could have held 12 years ago, but I could hold the version of it was at that time, which is what allowed it into my life. And the same is true for anything that we hope to manifest or adopt into our lives. Our ability to hold it is the only thing that allows it in. And I don't want this to sound like, if you can't hold love, then you don't get to be loved. That's not what I'm saying. Again, I could not hold what I have now when I received it, but I could hold what it was then. And that's the only thing you need to do is allow yourself to receive what you can hold, because our capacity is still not equal necessarily to our willingness. Like our willingness to hold something on an energetic level is also different than our want of something. Our want of something and our willingness to be able to hold it and our capacity to be able to hold it are actually three different things. It's very important that you not feel blame or shame if you have all of this desire, but not yet the capacity or even the willingness. And you might think, well, if I have the desire, do I not have the willingness? No, you actually don't, because there are things that you might want, but know that you can't have. Like, this is such a dumb example, but I want another puppy so fucking bad. Like literally every day I look at Ethan with like big puppy eyes and say, please, 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 can we get another puppy? Please, I want another puppy. Knowing that A, he's going to say no because he's smart, and B, we cannot get another puppy. You can't. But my desire is absolutely there. I would get a puppy every day of my life if I could. The willingness is not there because I know on some level I can't actually hold that, which is my capacity. My capacity is diminished. And honestly, our willingness can be diminished when we are in touch with our capacity, like I'm in touch with my capacity, but our willingness can also be diminished when we are unaware of our capacity and just don't think that we can do something. If we think that we can, then it becomes a choice. Well, I can. Do I want to? And so what I'm really trying to say here is you may have the desire and not yet the willingness and not yet the capacity. So this is a real invitation to ask yourself, do I have more than just the desire? Do I have the willingness? Do I have the capacity? What combination of those things do I have? And how can I connect myself to the thing that I might be missing, the ingredient that might not be there for me? But I want to be very clear. Like, I have people that come to me who literally think that they may never experience a loving relationship. And I am befuddled and befounded by that, because that is absolutely, is befounded even a word? Listeners, tell me if befounded is a word. I know in the deepest part of me that every person is capable and worthy of having love. It's just about the willingness, right? Or like the ability to see, or having the desire to open ourselves up like that. Like, it's about that combination of things. Like, but it astounds me every time that someone says like, oh, I don't like, is there someone for me? They're asking like, is there someone for me? Will I have love? Like, of course, like every person can have love and will have love eventually in their lives if they open themselves to it. Like, that's all that is required. But it is a process, and we do it one step at a time, like what we can hold, like what our capacity has the space for. But in terms of like the one, whoever is meant for you in this life and in this experience just circles you until your capacity can hold it. You cannot miss what is for you. It is not possible, but you can prolong it due to a lack of resonance because you're not in touch with your desire, willingness, or capacity. So hopefully I've answered these questions in a way that is clear and resonant and supportive to each and every one of you listening. And I think that is it for today. Blessed babes, there you have it. Another episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're interested in being on the podcast, send an email to podcast@zoegreco.com. Connect with me on all socials at the Zoe Greco. Find all the links you need at zoegreco.com. It's been reduced. The old website is out, and now there's just a little link tree for you guys with only the things you'll need to know. Tap in there to get the details for our upcoming pajama party. And of course, I want to conclude by reminding you that you are important, you matter, and you are perfect exactly as you are. I love you. Your spirit guides love you, and the universe loves you. So, until next time, keep answering the call of your higher self. Bye, friends. All right, Mike, just you and me and the camera and all the people watching. Hear from you. I'm okay. Sorry for the few cuts, Mike. I believe in you. I believe in you, Mike. Let's try again. Backtrack that. Sorry, Mike. That was me rewinding. Backtrack that for a second. Woohoo! Good job, Mike. Sorry about all my little doodads I was doing there.